Welcome back to Secret Sex Dungeon. My name is Luke McFan, and tonight we continue in the tomb of Zotzilia, the vampire god. We have been playing this game over the past couple of months, and I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to all of those following us on Twitch. We have 30 people following us now, and I feel like that's a nice little milestone to go ahead and say thank you. Everyone that has supported us, we're really feeling the love, so if you think you've got any friends that might be interested in coming along and listening to what we do here, please feel free to share it, spread it around, and just enjoy in general. Tonight we continue within the tomb. Our adventurers, after leaving the Grung village, went ahead and begun their adventure towards the northeast into a temple that was initially held by the Grung, these small frog-like individuals, but was recently overrun by a group of worshippers of Zotzilia. After a small amount of consideration, Magnus and Davos figured out this is a god, a devil from the hells that is a vampiric force. And he went ahead and said, we need to clear this temple, and the adventurers have been heading northeast since. After arriving at the temple and the ground collapsing from below them and falling into the area below, our adventurers found themselves within a tomb. They have walked through many sections depicting tribal life of ancient civilizations and have arrived at a what would you call it here? They have arrived at a tomb of one of the most devout followers of Zotzilia and have busted their way through after lighting a sigil that was based at the foot of the tomb. Both Bell and Magnus have been cursed by this long dead being. But our adventurers now find themselves within this dungeon, so I believe a change of music is in order.
Good music, I hope.
Adventurers, you come back to this dungeon and you can see that after clearing the block that was sitting atop this very large, I suppose, tomb, there was the area beneath this block that you've removed is hollow, and inside is a crumbling skeleton, decked out in decayed finery. It appears to have been a man of taller than average stature, obviously of great importance. Gems and other small adornments of obvious value lie around the body. Covering the skull is a mask of jade with cowrie shell eyes and obsidian pupils. About the corpse's neck is a jade pendant carved with the face of a human-like bat. Now, after Davos leant in and was able to pierce through the chest of this corpse, I suppose, there's not really much left of it except for bones, you all are taking a moment after the glyph of warding has been triggered. What are you all doing, adventurers?
Ooh, getting creeped out by the ominous sounds of this cavern.
It's a bit wet in here. You can hear that constantly from the roof there is this dripping that's occurring, and you can see as you look up towards the top of the room that there are sections of the limestone that this was originally created out of that have started to form stalactites, as though it is dissolving the rocks above and creating these hanging structures. A lot of them actually looking like fangs.
DM?
Yes.
I was wondering, can I tell that the others have been cursed?
You are currently far, far, far away.
I'm outside the room.
Yeah, so you'd have no idea.
I thought I was just outside the room.
No, so...
Okay, I wasn't sure if I saw a light or something.
So if you aren't at the moment, log into Roll20, and you'd be able to see where you are. This episode sponsored by Roll20.
I think I was over at the
sec.
other end, so I just moved my character.
Yes, you were.
I feel
Magnus.
weird. I just need a sec. You guys do whatever you need to do. I just
I asked Magnus, are you alright?
I'll be fine. I just need a moment.
Okay.
I believe he's totally fine.
I'm like Magnus too, like, I don't know what's wrong, but just something doesn't feel right.
I've seen this happen. I've been watching the whole time. Can I figure out what's going on?
Sure, go ahead and roll a... In this case, if you're trying to figure, they both feel a little bizarre. Maybe make a medicine check for me.
Certainly. Woo. Oh, wow. I must be a really smart man. 21.
21. So you feel like that definitely with the arcane force that sort of was expelled by this tomb, something has taken hold in Bell and Magnus that is not necessarily a disease, but it is some kind of affliction. They seem to be a little less like present in their bodies, and they both seem to be a bit they're kind of looking around and trying to comprehend the world around them rather than being present. As a monk, you would know that mindfulness and being in the moment is very important in these situations, and both Bell and Magnus seem to be out of it.
Yeah, I'm doing these ones in front of Bell, just going, hey Bell, we're here, we're in a crypt tomb thing.
So
You know where we are.
and I can tell, like, it's like I can hear him, but I'm just not like 100% present yet. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
I'm
like I
just-
just need like a couple more seconds.
I'm just gonna like close my eyes and like hold on to my pendant and just try to focus on like do like a little meditate thing, try to focus on the power
Hold on to your
in
what,
me
sorry?
and all that kind of stuff. Like center myself with the power of my patron kind of thing.
Yep,
Mm.
for sure. So you're kind of just sitting there clutching at your chest a little. Everyone else at this point in time, you look in and you can see that Falcor is kind of standing next to Magnus, who is pressed up against one of these walls at the moment, just sitting at the base of the floor. Bell is kind of looking around a little bit dazed, and Davos is currently standing over the top of a 10-foot structure. He's like climbed his way up and is looking into this large stone, I suppose almost like a stone coffin. And that's what you can see standing next to Thorax at the moment.
I go to have a look at the coffin because that seems to be the source of everything.
Cool. So as you walk up,
Stealthily walk up.
okay, if you're trying to sneak past your party members,
Always
stealthily. rogues be stealthing.
No, not for them. It's for whatever's things in there. Whatever's in the tomb. I don't know. It's
Okay, cool. So roll a stealth check for me.
23.
23, fantastic. You slip beneath like the tomb, coffin as you come up towards where Davos is on the opposite side of him, and slowly peer up over the top of the edge of this thing. And what you see inside is a corpse. It's obviously very rotten. There's a lot of bones left, and to your eyes, you see treasure. So much treasure. You see that.
What sort of treasure?
You see that beneath the mask are fragments of bones, as though the jaw has been crushed. The skull has been crushed, sorry, but within the fragments of the jaw, there's like spherical white onyx that is 15 gold pieces. You see that like There's some strands of hair that are left, gathered into like black obsidian tubes and red pipestones. And if you were to take all of these, you think that they'd be worth about 50 gold. Above the mask on the corpse's forehead is a diadem with dark opals and jade discs that looks like it's probably worth about 200 gold pieces. Either side of the mask are like jade earrings that look like the pair is worth about 30 gold. Draped over the rib cage is like a breastplate that looks like it's about it's got all of these loops of tubular jade and bone, and it looks like it's worth about 200 gold pieces. You can see that scattered throughout the corpse are these tiny little ornate stones of jade and precious gems that look like spheres, cylinders, floral buds, and snake heads that if you gathered all of them together, you'd think there's maybe about 200 gold worth of gems here. You can see that the corpse is wearing braces like across its wrists that look rather fine. There's a couple of rings in there as well, and good God, you could just go on and on. It looks like there's a couple of things that potentially look like they may hold a potion. You can see that there's a very large, what is it? You can see a 6-inch statue of a man that's got pointed ears, and it's plugged at the bottom. So you just look in and you can see so much treasure.
So I kind of like go bug-eyed, like they're doing those cartoons, like, like all that. And because I realize do I realize everyone's looking a bit off?
You can see
or am I too
Davos.
absorbed in what I'm doing?
Davos is looking immediately down into the thing and is just, at this moment with him actually being away, I'm going to go ahead and say he is pretty focused on looking at the area immediately below you guys, because he. But
I'm more guessing, like, can I tell if anything is off about the others? Like, can I tell that they've been cursed?
Roll an insight check.
Dang, -1, 15.
15. You have a bit of a look around. Sil, you were about to say something?
Oh. No, carry on.
Oh, all I was going to say is, you look around the room and, like, Magnus is sitting. Belle is kind of, definitely looking a little dazed. The rest of the party seems fine.
I kind of shrug my shoulders and then I'm like, what did you say the potion was?
It looks like there's a statuette that has a plug in the bottom of it, like a cork. And there's potential that there could be something in there.
I go for the head caress in that sense because I'm just like, I don't know what's in that. Could be something really lame like wine. I'm not allowed to.
Wine is not lame.
I'm underage.
So you go
In
ahead.
the States I am.
But you steal. How's that different?
Those are two different things.
So you can see
You've been drinking whiskey every day.
The most valuable things in here are probably the mask itself, which you think is worth about 200 gold pieces. I
thought the headdress was 300.
No, 200. So there's the mask, which is 200. The diadem, which is like across the forehead.
I take that thing because it's got more gems in it.
Sure, worth about 200. And then the next two kind of most valuable things would be the breastplate, which is quite large, the pendant that's around its neck at the moment, and it's probably worth about 50 gold. And then you think that the strands that the hair is kind of gathered into.
Can I sleight of hand the diadem? Diadem? Is that right? I don't know. It sounds like a body part.
Are you trying to like...
Duodenum. That's it. Okay, sorry.
Duodenum. No, the diadem. So if you're trying to sleight of hand it with Davos looking immediately at it, I mean, roll.
Because he's going to tell me off otherwise.
Yeah, sleight of hand.
20 not natural.
It's not enough. As soon as you like reach out to grab for it, even with the speed, you see Davos just like slap the back of your hand with a sword, and he's like, "Don't touch that.
Don't slap me!
Don't touch it."
Don't slap me! And then I reach for it again.
So you don't necessarily have to steal this from your party. you can go ahead and accumulate all of these things as a party and then distribute the funds. This is something that is quite
Don't care, I'm
possible.
still reaching for it again.
Cool. So
Is Nelly with us?
Co has no chill.
I have no chill. I'm hot-headed.
zero
Hot-headed
chill.
teenagers have zero chill.
And you guys are pretty lucky that I'm like dazed.
I would like to be bringing the skeleton back to life.
So
I'm bringing
He'd tell the joke,
skeleton
right?
back. Wait.
yeah. So as sure, you take the diadem. The only other things that really alert you about this tomb at the moment, besides
Wait, do I pocket it?
I mean, everyone watches you take it from inside and put it into your bag. But yes.
It's right in the middle of the room.
Yeah. You're literally 10 feet up and everyone is looking at you and Davos currently. You can't really stealth.
We're
away.
very-
Don't
not
care.
very subtle.
200 gold. Don't care.
Cool. So
You still
I mean,
have our gems, don't you, Co?
Gems? What's a gem?
Just saying.
Just saying.
okay, so Davos, are you with us?
Why are you asking a roach to look after a treasure?
I think he's still dead.
Okay. So that's not so great. But at the moment, Davos turns to the rest of you and says, I swear there was an evil energy in here. I detected undead. And this guy here was that force. He's exactly in the location where I sensed that presence.
Do you sense him now, Dallas?
You see him sort of take a moment, and this would be good if Alex was here because I don't want to just eat through his spells. But he says it's got to be. It has to be.
No, character
And he begins looking around.
the moment right now.
So you see Davos begin looking around, like under the tomb, like within the same location, beginning to pull at tiles and things, and he's like, no, this guy's it. This guy is it.
So he is still the source of
Yeah.
evil.
I'm certain. I mean, and then you see Davos look towards the south of the room, and there's an axe that's embedded in the wall about 6 feet up. Other than that, you don't think there's anything else that could be causing the source in this room.
And Syl can see this axe?
Yeah, for sure. So you can see that there's what looks like a relatively like fine axe just embedded into the stonework.
That's bizarre. That's very bizarre. I'm gonna go pull on it.
Cool.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Some sort of fight has happened here. Maybe from the weaponry I can figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I would like to walk up to it.
Great. So you walk up to it. Are you inspecting it or just going ahead and yanking on it?
A bit of an inspection first. I mean, I'm not like a barbarian. I look
For sure.
at stuff first.
Okay. So
He set it up.
you can see that the battle axe. So it's relatively large. It has a blade of bronze, and the haft is woven and wound out of snakeskin. The weapon emits like an ominous kind of shadow that, coming from Falcor across this room, makes the shadow look like an arm instead of an axe, that the handle is actually the hand of an arm, and that the shadow is casting kind of like this instead of the visage of an axe, it looks like an arm. That's what you can see upon first inspection.
Okay, that's creepy. I'm not a fan of this shadow anymore. Not really a fan of any shadows, but this one in particular, it's creeping me out. I would like to try and get Belle to check this out because she knows some real creepy stuff. So is it cool if I
Remember
get
that I'm going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
But-
I
with
don't know
certain
that.
things.
But
You just
he-
look a bit dazed and confused and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't know that you're at disadvantage for wisdom checks. But
Now,
He hasn't
So I'm
checked
gonna-
or not. Okay.
I want to try and get Co to help me get Belle over to this axe and check it out.
cool. So
Is that
you
cool?
walk. Yeah. So you walk past Ko and kind of tap her on the shoulder or the back.
The left clavicle.
So, Ko, you kind of feel this like strong hand on your left shoulder.
I kind of jump and I'm like, I didn't take nothing.
Okay. So I'm gonna need your help just snapping Belle out of this weird vibe she's got going on. Something evil's happening
How
there.
should we snap her? In half?
Whoa, okay, alright. Okay, you've been paying too much attention to Davos, I think. Let's go get Belle over to that axe, because the axe is creeping me out. Don't tell anyone,
I don't
but
know. I know how to
freaks
do
me
it.
out.
And then I take a loaf of like dried bread out of my bag and I kind of crumble into the crumbs and I go in front of Belle and I kind of like lean in jail.
alright, let's
I'm
do
not a
it.
bird.
Well,
Like,
you
I
actually
know
like
what
that.
urchins are probably
Ooh,
pretty
this is
excited.
great.
Oh, what is this? Oh, what is this?
Exactly.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh,
I'm
piece
not
of
the
candy.
smartest person. You should have asked me.
Nice. So,
And it
As-
works.
hey, I think Davos is back.
Yay!
That is good news.
Hooray!
Oh, okay.
You have been incredibly profane over the last 5 minutes.
So
Just
much swearing.
swearing.
Your God has not forgiven you.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
fair
know
enough,
you knew
fair
those words.
You're never coming back from this.
So, as Ko and Syl begin coaxing Belle across the room towards the axe on the far wall, Belle, you begin looking where they're taking you. You walk past the tomb, and you can see that, yeah, sure, at about 6 feet up the wall, there is an axe that's embedded, and it's casting the shadow of like a withered arm, instead of the shadow of an axe.
Can I high five it with my staff?
The like,
Don't high five me in the head.
so-
Oh, my staff has a hand on the end too.
It does. It does. So
Sorry.
you take the staff and kind of like line it up with the shadow, and then just ding. There's like this dull thud as the staff hits the
Yeah.
limestone wall.
Look back at Syl and I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want? What do you
It's
want me to know?
really, it's got some creepy stuff going on, so I thought you might know something about it.
So, would you like me to do a detect magic? Because there's magic everywhere in this room. Or do you want me to do
I
like
don't-
a history check to know if I know anything or like
So-
his intelligence?
Belle, did you cast detect magic in the last game?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I did because I'm down a thing.
Okay, so because it is
I'm down
area of,
a thing slot.
because it's area of effect, as you walk across the room, and you get to within 30 feet of the item, you can tell that this is a magical weapon. This is a very strong magical weapon. It's what is known to most folk as a berserker axe. And you know that it is stronger than most, and there's some other type of magic that is imbued in this weapon. You can see that as you get close, the snake skin that has been wrapped around the handle of this axe for grip, amongst it, there is parchment below. And you can sense that there are scrolls that are bound to this weapon.
Alright, so I relay this to Syl, and I ask, what would you like me to do? They've got the scrolls here.
Do I hear this? Sorry.
I guess I say it loud enough for everyone to be everyone
No,
to hear.
because I was with Syl. I was wondering if I heard it.
Yeah. Suppose
Yeah, I mean-
you're right next to me.
Because all I'm thinking of is all the disemboweling I could do with berserking.
Alright.
Of course you are.
I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that axe and thinking.
I disembowel.
Use
What I
an
do.
Yeah, very stealthy.
Was there something else, Belle?
I was gonna say, because I'm not feeling 100%, I'm not gonna go around touching random objects. I feel like I kind of learnt from my last thing. So I point out and I'm like, look, there's scrolls there. Do you want to read a bit more about it, or what do you want to do with the axe?
I think you've helped us out a lot. How high is the axe?
6 feet.
6 feet. Okay, don't you go touching anything. You've touched plenty today. So I would like to pick up the parchment that's under the axe, is it?
No, so where the snake skin has been used as a grip on the axe, it's almost as though it has been wound around scrolls that are underneath the handle.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna pick up the axe.
Okay, so you go up and you can feel that it's relatively solidly held into the wall, but as you begin to pull against it, roll a strength check for me.
Yes.
You begin struggling and you're like, oh, this is pretty wedged in here. It's not moving at all.
Every strength check I've done, I've needed someone else's help. And now it's not now it's still the same thing. I got 6.
No exception to the rule. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't budge. It doesn't even shift at all. You feel like you begin pulling and you're like, God, this is I just moved a giant piece of limestone out of the way to get in here. I can't even budge this axe.
And I'd like to take this moment to remember that I was struggling with that limestone, and I looked to the person who helped me not get crushed by limestone, who would be Davos.
Nice. So,
Can
Davos.
you help me rip this axe?
But before we get to that, Davos, you've been standing atop this tomb for a moment and noticed that Ko has taken a diadem, a headdress from the corpse in the tomb, and you kind of slapped her on the back of the hand with the sword that you're carrying, but she goes ahead and takes it anyway. So what are you doing otherwise? You've kind of moved, as you made your first strike, you shifted the sword off of your sword shifted the mask off of this creature, and you can see still there is just riches laying around it, and around its neck there is a what would you call it? Some kind of pendant that looks as though it is a humanoid face that is sculpted in the visage of a bat. Davos, are you there?
God, he's so out of it today.
You're back. Fantastic.
It's a spell.
Back from the dead!
Thank you,
I didn't have to
Necromancer.
Yeah, I didn't even have to use a slot. He's a back straight.
Good.
I think he's cursed.
I think he got cursed. He got some backlash.
With a bad microphone.
He is the Frogget in this equation.
That's not good. Okay, so
That's that.
The frog's good, right?
just hold up a second.
Can we keep his horse?
Ooh, right into battle.
Okay, Davos, are you there? I'm gonna say he's not quite there.
He's not with us.
He's not
Do you
all
want to
there.
resurrect him, Belle?
Bowels.
Not really. I mean, sure, for our group.
So,
Hmm.
in the meantime, with nothing much more occurring in this tomb currently, what are the rest of you doing?
So are you
Well,
still trying to find someone to help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for someone to help me pry this axe off the wall.
So
I mean, Belle is right next
I
to me,
point to
but-
Valcor, because Valcor is probably another strong person that might be able to help you. So I'm like sitting there like,
That guy. Oh yeah, that guy.
Shit.
Oh, that
hey,
guy.
chill.
Hey, Fal. And I guess it's a big room, so I yell like, "Hey, Falcor, I'll buy you a beer. I'll buy you a beer if you help me with this thing.
Make it a double.
I'll make it a triple if you get the axe out of the wall."
Alrighty then.
Nice. So you go ahead and walk over Falcor, and you can see the same thing. This axe that has this humanoid arm like shadow on it, and you grab it by the handle. Go ahead and try to lift it out of the wall. Just roll a strength check for me.
I sure will. Ah, crap. 8 plus. What? That would be 11. Oh, sorry. 12.
12. You feel like that this is not going to budge. You think that perhaps there's something that's gone on with the brass and the stonework, and it is just wedged in there, man. It is not coming out. You're not
Did we
sure.
try yelling at it?
You haven't.
did you try turning it off and on again?
By grabbing the handle, he's probably sounding it on.
Gross.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So, what are you all doing as you realize that nothing much else is coming of this dungeon?
I go to steal something else.
Cool. So,
I'm still just trying to.
I
check
want to go for that
feeling.
statue bottle thing.
the witch?
The statue with the cork in it? That I think has got a potion.
Sure. So you pick it up, and you can feel, yeah, there's something sloshing around in there.
So I kind of like shake it like.
Yeah, like a cocktail shaker. You just like.
And then I kind of like pop the cork and I smell it.
Yep.
What do I smell?
You smell like this almost herbally kind of mixture of like chemicals. The cork itself actually has like a little bit of a reddish tinge, but it's not like that of wine. It is like a very like bright red, translucent. It doesn't look like blood, but it is a similar color.
I dip my finger in and have a look at it. Can I tell what it is?
That would probably be a medicine check or arcana check if you have either of those as proficiencies.
Which would you prefer? I don't have neither as proficiency.
Roll an arcana check.
4.
No idea. You kind of like look at it on your finger for a minute, kind of like picks up a little bit of the light spell, and you see that there's almost like a shimmer to the liquid, and as you kind of scrape it back off, it just coalesces and falls back into the bottom of this jar.
I call Magnus over to check it out. Because he's like the sorcerer dude.
Sorcerer dude.
Sorcerer
He
dude,
wishes.
wizard dude.
He wishes he had
He's
that
my
power himself.
dude. He's my dude.
I believe.
Okay, I'm just sort of like What do you want?
What this?
Bring it here.
I like shove it in your face and it kind of sloshes around.
Cool. Magnus.
I'll open my eyes, like sort of like headachy, like rubbing my temples, like so, and then I'll be like, "Show me it."
Cool. So, she hands it to you, and she hands this bottle that looks like it's been carved as a human. And under one of the feet is where the cork like sits in, and she's already pulled the cork out, and you can see that there's a red liquid around the top of it. So go ahead and roll an Arcana check. Let me know what you get.
19.
19. You know that this is an elixir of health. You know that this would remove one.
That's a letdown.
Good find, Co.
Would remove one disease or some other ailment. And just give me half a moment here, and I will check one thing for you. Nope, my internet is being far too slow. Elixir of...
Perhaps is
So,
also an elixir
with
of
your-
no curses.
potential.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
So, with...
I'll fight you to the death, Magnus. We had a good run.
Hey, it's mine. I choose. Whoever's the best kisser.
Maybe we should find out if it is first an elixir of no curses.
Okay.
It could be an elixir of extra curses.
Elixir of
All
more
the
curses.
curses.
So, when you drink this potion, it cures any disease afflicting you, and it removes the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, and poisoned conditions. The clear red liquid has tiny bubbles of light in it.
Ooh, we can use it as a torch.
I guess.
I'll relay that information.
Will that take away like Belle's black hands then?
You're not sure.
That's
Ooh.
very
Oh,
racist.
I'll tell the
My
rogue
fingers
what
have
it
feelings,
is.
you know.
Yeah. and
So I tell her.
I stomped on them.
I'll tell her
Alright,
what it
Magnus.
is.
Magnus is actually trying to do story. Go on, Magnus.
And so I'll tell her what it is. What it does is keep it safe. We'll probably need it in this place. Okay, leave me alone now. I've got a headache.
So the only
Okay,
other...
I go over to help with the axe.
I asked Magnus
I
if he
know
needs
what's
it
happening.
because I just don't understand what it can heal really.
Yep. So,
No, this won't help, but keep it safe.
I've got a Nurofen. No, I just stick it in my bag.
I don't know what that is.
good.
Wait a
It's
second.
drugs.
Okay,
Thorax?
so as you all have been waiting around, Davos, while the rest of this has been going on, you've been looking down at this creature in front of you inside of this stone box. And you know that there is something about it that is emanating an undead presence that is evil, and you are not sure what. You've knocked the mask off of this creature and can see that the face is exposed, what is left of the small amounts of skin attached to the skull. You can see all of this like jewelry and ornamental kind of burial like attire, and around it just riches. But the main thing that stands out to you is the pendant that is around its neck that looks to have the visage of a bat.
I go to help people with the axe, but I tell everybody to ready to fight because I can still sense the evil there, even though I stabbed it in the face.
Cool. So, you go across towards the axe, and you walk up and can see this axe that is casting the shadow of a hand, like an arm that is withered. And Belle is kind of standing around still with her staff, and she's kind of like touching the shadow occasionally with the hand that is atop her staff of withering. And you can see that both Falcor and Syl are kind of rubbing their forearms and like twisting their wrists after attempting to pull this thing out of the wall. And you walk up towards them.
So I make my way over to Magnus, and I was like, well, this doesn't look like this is going anywhere. Should we suggest going back to the western path in the main room?
Probably, it's probably for the best. Nothing much seems to be happening here. We'll just need to see if Davos will not be so obstinate as to take that feedback.
I will.
Can we just go without talking to him? We'll be like, let's move this way, guys.
I grab the axe and ask Syl to help me with the axe at the same time.
Cool. So you have advantage.
Alright.
You have advantage on your strength roll as Syl kind of grabs you around the torso while you are holding onto the axe.
Ooh.
You both go ahead and begin to yank this thing out of the wall. So let me know what you get there, Alex, as you make your strength check.
As you said, advantage, right?
Yeah, correct.
I got a 1 and then a 19. Plus
I choose the 19.
22.
So 22. Even with this extremely high score, you're pulling and pulling, and you feel like something shifts for a second, and then it's almost as though your shoulder pops out, pops back in, and then you fly backwards as Syl is pulling against your body. You see that the axe has not budged a single inch.
Damn.
As much
So-
as I'd love to watch you guys try and fail to pull this out like some sort of hilarious Arthurian legend, perhaps we should do something more productive with our time.
Yeah, I was gonna
Speaking
ask.
Speaking of productive,
Maybe we should all pull on the axe.
What's
some
thorax
cool
doing?
druid have a cool spell called Meld into Stone, which means I could walk inside the wall and then later on walk back out of it.
Just don't transform into your normal self body in the wall.
Yeah, we
No,
Yeah,
got
but last
that
time,
is
right?
the extent of the ability. So if you guys wanted me to walk behind the axe and then soon after I come back out, I can do that if you please.
Should we at least take all the loot if nothing bad's happened, even though I definitely sense something evil with all of this?
well, I was gonna ask you about what you saw in there because I was a bit
There's
nervous
a
about
lot
looking
of
in.
Gold and gems and stuff.
Can you go up with me and we have a look together?
Yeah.
He just
Okay.
wants to hold your hand.
So he's leaving me here on my own with the axe. Thanks.
He's still holding me by the waist.
He's just like,
Yeah, you haven't moved.
Pick his arm
You're just like-
up.
You're just like whispering this into his ear, hugging him from behind. Can you take me up there? No. So anyway,
You can
the two
take
of
me
you,
there.
yeah, the two of you walk up and look into this box, and you can see that there is just huge amounts of gold here, in the form of gems, fine like glass beads, the obsidian pieces that have been laid across the hair. There is this breastplate that has you think that the worth of it is probably about 200 gold pieces, and you can see also there are like very very fine braces that are on each of the arms of this creature, and you begin going ahead and seeing there is a lot of cash that could be taken from this.
Can I cast detect good and evil?
You already have. It's
Yeah.
definitely evil. Yeah.
Are there did I detect any objects other than people?
You just
Desecrated objects?
So now that you are here, you know that there are two objects that are evil. One is the mask. So you're casting it for a second time, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I am.
So you can tell that the body itself is that of undead, and that the mask and the pendant both emanate significant amounts of evil.
Oh, okay. Everybody can take everything other than the mask and the pendant.
Hey, Thorax, I dare you to take the mask or the pendant.
It's true. I have a pure heart and of innocent thorax, and I wander up and try to take the pendant.
No!
Anyone stopping him?
So,
I kind of question.
Can I roll to stop him? Like, I don't want to stop him, like,
I'm kind of
flat
like, you
out.
just want the pendant for yourself.
I say to Bill that a gold piece says this ends poorly.
I agree, so I don't think we really have a bet going.
I walk over and start looking interested in the pendant after hearing this.
Cool. So you see
Oh, you shouldn't have
Thorax.
said that.
Yeah, you see Thorax and Davos kind of arguing about taking the pendant, and then Falcor comes up behind both of you. What are you doing, Falcor?
I'm having a look at the pendant, just thinking, and got that little, devil version of me on one side saying, "Hey, pendant, get it."
Yeah, it's
and then
probably
look
worth
to my
about
other
50
side,
gold.
there's nothing there, and I'm like, huh.
So,
Something bad could happen. I
Alright,
look
at
back
this
at
point.
everybody else.
Oh, we lost. I thought we lost someone.
I'm trying to read the
At this
room.
point, I look at Davos and I go, all right. How about this? And I lean in. I clamber awkwardly up onto the coffin, and I rest my head gently on the corpse's head.
Yep.
And then I slowly grab the pendant's chain and transfer it over the dead guy's head onto my head whilst our foreheads are touching.
okay. So you
I
like.
think the confusion would
Flip it.
stop me. I would not react.
So
Yeah, I would not react because he's like, "How about this?" And I'm like, "That's exactly the thing I didn't want him to do, but I just watched him do it."
cool. So, you go ahead and like do it. Take the pendant and put it around your neck, and then you stand back up and you're like, "Hey!" You've kind of shifted the mask out of the way that Davos had knocked off when he first struck this creature. And as you put the pendant on, you stand up and you're looking at Davos, and you're just like, doesn't seem like anything's happened.
He's right.
Well, now we know that I am of pure of heart and innocent of thorax, and I begin to leave.
Immediately after you finish saying this, you see that dust just kind of rises from the box itself for a moment, and then begins to settle again. I'm going to go ahead and get everyone to roll initiative.
I hate you so much. I mean, thorax.
Natural one.
So
I think I
19
hate-
still.
What a 6.
Oh,
Natural 1.
22.
he's so angry he can't even.
Falcor and
so-
7.
Thorax
for
21.
Magnus.
Boromir bracing for impact.
12 for Magnus. Bell, what did you get?
6.
6.
Yes.
And Thorax, where are you?
21.
21. Cool.
Nice. Welcome to the high initiative table.
And Davos.
A 1 plus a 1.
That makes 2. Very good.
It
Some
does,
might
it does.
say.
Cool. So, Ko, immediately you see dust kind of just rise up off of this creature for a moment and then just settle. The creature itself hasn't moved and nothing else seems to have occurred, though you do notice that Thorax is wearing the pendant.
Is he still forehead to forehead with it?
No, he's stood up and he's said his piece.
Where's Thorax in this?
He's standing over the legs of the creature.
I'm just trying to see where I am in relation to him on the map.
Cool. So that's
I
really
think I actually
important right
deleted
now.
myself.
If everyone can go ahead and move themselves to where they were when we were
Can
discussing,
you please put me
because
back?
Falcor, I believe you were
Thorax,
looking
you should
in.
be like opposite. me.
Thorax, you
Like-
were opposite.
Yeah, I accidentally deleted myself because my
I'm-
push to talk
I'm in
and there's the
myself,
delete
yeah.
button.
Okay, give me a second.
Alright, so
Why would the lady do
She's like, I
that?
don't have time for this. She's just like got out of the dungeon.
She's like, fuck this, I'm leaving.
Sorry,
you see-
is this still? Yeah.
and then sprints past the frog.
See ya, bitches.
Okay, Ko, you should
We
be
should
back.
get that giant.
Start cashing in all the
lobster to come and
gold.
help us.
Where are all the gems?
You should be back on the map. I will go ahead and just put you there for the moment. So,
I put myself back to where I was. So because I'm right next to Thorax, I kind of yank it off and throw it back in. Like throw off the amulet, pull it off, and then I throw it back into the grave.
Oh no,
Okay.
you restored his full power.
so you're just going to try and rip the amulet from around his neck?
Because I'm like, shit, I don't feel like fighting right now. Too tired.
Cool. So I'm going to say an opposed strength check between Thorax and Ko.
Saving throw or just normal?
No strength. So it's not a saving throw. It is just a strength check because you're both struggling against each other, trying to like not make this like.
I think you're gonna win this one. I got 4.
So Thorax, what's your strength?
14 minus 1.
Yep. So you try to take it away from him, and he snatches it back out of your hands, Ko. And he's like, "No, it's mine."
And I'm kind of like, no, put it back. It'll kill us.
At this point, I go, how about this? And then I turn into a sausage dog and run away.
Cool. So it is.
How are you holding it? Oh, is it around your neck?
Because we're in initiative. Ko, that was your action. Do you have a bonus that you want to do?
Wait, yes, I do. I want to hide behind the nearest thing into the shadow.
I hate all of you.
So
Assassinate!
I'll say you go ahead and jump down, and you can see that to the west of you there is that pillar, and you could probably hide behind it. If you would like to roll a stealth check for me, you can make a hide action.
25.
Okay, cool. You think that you're pretty well hid right now. Thorax, comes to your turn. Ko just kind of disappears as soon as she loses this struggle with you. And what are you doing?
I turn into a sausage dog, and I make a break for the door.
Fantastic. So you just begin running, and you run. You make your whole... it's a bonus action for you to change shape, isn't it?
No, we lost
I'm
you.
not sure, to be honest.
I'd
No,
say...
it's just such a dog can't talk.
I'm pretty sure it's a bonus action for you to use your wild shape. So you can go
Yeah,
ahead...
it sounds about right.
Yeah, you can go ahead and move 50 feet if you would like, which would probably get you out of here if you wanted to use the dash.
No, it's fine. I'll stay just inside the room because I'm making sure no one else is following me, so I'm looking around wildly with my tiny little sausage dog face.
Okay, cool.
So I don't have time to go full sprinty.
So, Sil, this point in time, you're standing here. You've seen this all occur. What are you doing?
So where did the dust come from again?
You just saw across the bones and the
Yeah.
face of the creature. It just seems like that there's just been this like exhale of like dust from the skeleton.
Okay, I'm a bit on edge because there's creepy shadows and stuff. So I already have my quarterstaff in hand. I'll be like, good, and I'm gonna try and whack down into the skull of this thing, like just crush it, like a bug.
Sure. So go ahead, make an attack roll if you're wanting to like try and crush the skull.
Yes, just I have all the dice except the one that has 20. Okay. I rolled. What was I rolling? An attack roll.
Yeah, just a usual attack if you're using your staff or whatever you wanted to use.
I got 9.
9 misses. You kind of hit the skull and it shifts a little and like twists on the neck, but it doesn't seem like it's taken any damage. You reassess and you're standing there and you're just like shit, looking around. You see Thorax just go boop, turn into a sausage dog and sprint across the room. Anything else that you wanted to do with your turn?
How far down is it to lean into the crypt?
I mean, you guys would be able to it's about 3 feet from where you're currently standing. There's maybe a 4 foot
Yeah.
step up that you're all standing on at the moment. and then you're able to see into the box itself.
Right. Yeah. In that case, because I'm pretty quick at moving, but my scare reflex is still active, I try to stomp on it as well with my bonus action.
Okay, cool.
Like,
So
whack.
you like
Ugh.
kind of vault over and go to kick its head in. Yep. Go make another attack.
Oh, much better. 26.
Yeah, that's
25.
gonna hit. That's gonna hit. So go ahead and roll some damage for me there.
Okay. Oh, not much. 5.
5 damage. Okay, cool. Sweet. So you see like a crack forms across the top of the skull for a minute, and you look back and you can see that there's a gem that has been placed in the jaw that's kind of like popped out slightly. This like white, what is it, like an onyx that looks like, I mean, it's probably worth about 15 gold. Reasonable gem. And as that occurs, you kind of stay within that range of the creature and are just chilling. So at this point in time, Magnus, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Well, at the start of my turn, I need to make a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage, right?
It's correct. If you would like to try and get rid of this curse.
I would love to try and get rid of this curse.
Perfect.
Ooh, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Even with disadvantage, let me just check my modifier. Okay, that is a 19.
19. For a moment, Magnus,
What?
you realize that there is just this, crippling kind of magical force that is causing you to like doubt your motives, your reasons, like you can't quite make sense of things around you, and you focus for a moment and draw as much of your will together as you can, and you feel it dissipate and just leave your body.
Fuck yeah, it does. Okay,
So that's the end of your turn. Making that save is your
Wonderful.
Unless you have a bonus that you would like to do.
No, but I do have a question moving on.
Yep.
While I was sitting there for ages just chillaxing, would you say I had a short rest? Yeah,
Nope.
spell slots.
No, I'd say it hasn't been.
What? No.
You tried.
I mean,
You
you guys.
tried.
You got
You
too
guys-
keen. You came on too strong.
I'd say you guys would have been in here for about 20 minutes, like max.
Fine. I still
Sorry,
have
dude.
ice armor then.
So, at this point in time, you will all see that from the. I keep changing what I'm calling it, but at this point in time, I'm going to call it a coffin. You see the skeleton sit up, and it kind of looks around and just begins gazing. And you can see that slowly, still being so close to this creature, you can see that across the bones, appearing to sort of come from nothing, as the dust settles back on the bones, you see ropey tendons and muscles beginning to form across the surface of this creature. And at this point in time, it doesn't appear to be doing anything, but slowly looking around, and you see the skull where you had dislodged it and kind of broken it on its neck, kind of clicks just back into place, and you notice that from the neck, muscles begin sort of attaching it to the neck, reattaching the skull to the neck, and they begin to twist and look directly towards you.
All right.
However,
Is it my turn again?
Falcor,
Oh.
it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Hi. I
Yes?
would like to. Oh, let's see where. How far is it to the door? Just wondering.
From where you are, I'd say
Nifty.
that's
Yeah.
10, 15, 20, 25,
Misty, step the fuck out.
30, I think it's about 35 or 40 feet, roughly.
Gotcha. And this thing's standing now, wasn't it? As you said.
Yeah, immediately in front of you. In fact, if I take a second, I can probably show you. where it is on the screen. But what are you feeling you want to
That
do
would be
here?
delightful. Are we feeling that this is like a very powerful enemy? Can we roll a check for that?
You can roll a nature check and try and
Perception or
figure
something?
out. Yeah, so you could probably roll nature, and that would tell you a little bit about what this creature might be, what it's doing.
Nature, I did a 13.
13. Okay, so you feel like. What's your favorite enemy, by the way, Falcor?
Favored enemy? I believe one was Orc, and the other one... Where did I put that?
So I think favorite enemy is probably just like humanoid, right? It's not. You don't have undead.
I think I have to log back into my thing to find it out, but it doesn't feel like
very
it was.
pro undead though, so I don't think he would have had undead as a favorite enemy.
That's all right. I'd say that you probably have a rough idea of what this might be, given the context and the discussion that's been going on. You feel like this could be some type of vampire spawn.
And that they're powerful, right?
You know that for a small group of adventurers, it could be quite difficult. You think that with correct sort of planning, ideology, and the fact that this thing seems to be waking up, if you get to it quickly, you may be able to deal with it.
Gotcha. Alright then. We shall hit this son of a bitch with my short sword.
Nice.
Using ensnaring strike at the same time.
Okay, cool. So you go ahead, take an attack, roll for me, and let me know what you get.
Hey-ya! Oh, I lost my dice.
No.
There it is. 91 or 16. Plus my 5. So, 21.
That definitely hits, so go ahead, roll some damage. And what's the deal with ensnaring strike?
Hold on, I have it here. So ensnaring strike, so when you hit it, writhing massive thorny vines appear at the point of impact, and it's got to succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained by magic vines until it ends.
That's a natural 20 on its strength saving throw. So
Oh,
I'm going to assume that's successful.
Hacks.
Hack! So,
Just, it still didn't happen.
oh, you want me to
Alright,
show
well,
you?
I rolled.
No, no.
Found a TPK.
I believe
See that
you.
20?
I don't want to see any.
Show me your 20 on 2020 vision. Whatever.
I don't
damage
believe
I got.
You just
Yeah,
made
so
it
what
say
was-
the 20.
What was the damage there, Chris?
8 plus 3 piercing.
Makes a total of 11, which is good. Nice.
And
Okay.
then I get to hit it with the second short sword.
Yep.
Yep, rolling damage. Oh, sweet, 6.
That is
I don't
going
get to do the attack bonus with that.
So you would still roll an attack like you would usually, but your damage is only the weapon die, not the dex that you would usually add to it. So you've missed, which means that it just it doesn't hit. You see,
And I'm still going at the moment. Oh, sorry.
So your second attack misses. Are you wanting to like disengage from the creature or anything like that?
I actually get another crack at him with second attack, I believe.
I thought you said
It's
that
called
was...
second attack.
Oh, okay,
Oh, no,
cool.
because 2 short swords plus second attack.
Yeah, nice.
Level
Okay,
5
cool.
thingy.
Nice. So I'd say that with second attack, you make 3 strikes.
Oh, sorry, extra attack, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot one thing as well, sorry. I was using, well, I can do it on this one if I can, the Colossus Slayer at the same time.
Okay, so does that...
Which is it's not a spell, but it's just the,
If the creature's below its hit point max. Yeah, okay, cool. So
it's,
just roll it...
the archetype, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So on this one, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yep. Alright, that's a 4, but do I get attack bonus for the multi? It says... Extra
It says
attack,
like a
beginning of
normal
5th level.
attack roll.
You can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn.
Yep. So,
So it
you can
doesn't
go
say anything
ahead.
about
No, so you've rolled a 4 on the die.
5.
5, and then you add
Yep.
your like proficiency and dex, which would be what you'd usually attack with, right, for your short swords.
Yes.
Yep.
So 8 plus the 3 piercing.
Oh no, so you rolled a 5 on the d20.
Oh, sorry, I rolled attack damage. My bad.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
screwing this up. It's been a while since we fought.
It has been since we've done encounters. So
I know.
I rolled a 12 plus the 3, so 15. All up?
so 15 to hit.
Yes.
Okay, that does hit. So roll your damage, which in this case add your Colossus Slayer.
Yeah, and I'll just go with what I rolled before, the 5 for the damage plus 3 piercing.
Okay, so that's an 8 total. Cool. You see this thing still just sitting there looking back at you. It looks relatively haggard, but that is the end of your turn. Bell,
Shit.
what would you like to do?
Can I please do the wisdom saving throw? But I feel like I'm not going to be like as successful as Magnus. But I'm willing to try.
Yeah, there's one way to find out. Go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Sure why.
Nat 20 and a 7. So 10.
10. You don't
Damn
manage...
it, I got the nat 20 first.
Yeah, you don't manage to shake it, unfortunately. But for the minute, let me just double check. I just want to double check something because I think it's still on saving throws of that type as well. That's gonna be.
I still have inspiration, which I haven't used too. But I don't think I'd rather.
And then just do some really good singing. And get back.
So ability checks.
I need
and
a bard. I need a
ability checks
barbarian.
and saving throws. So yes,
Just kill me off.
Bell, for the moment, you do still have this curse upon you, which means wisdom checks are going to be
Toots will save you.
at disadvantage. And
I shrug my shoulders and take my notebook out and just start like making notes because I was like, yeah, this guy seems pretty cool.
hey, he's an undead guy. Yeah. Cool. Davos.
He's really good looking.
Davos, it is
Yes.
your turn. What would you like to do?
Attack it so much. I'm attacking it a lot.
Good. Okay. So make your attack.
That's 24.
24 hits.
Oh wait, shit! I should have done another thing first. I'll do it next turn.
That's okay. You can call
If
like
there is a
your,
next turn.
you can call your smite after you've made your hit if you want.
Yeah, no, I know that one, but I wanted to do an extra smite. Oh, can I do my set? Can I do a bonus action between my two attacks?
Yeah, I can't see why not. What do you? Let me know what you're trying to do, and I'll let you know.
I'm trying to attack it twice, but I want to do a bonus action as well.
Okay, so what's the bonus action?
Cast my channel divinity.
Yep. Okay. So you can attack it, channel divinity, and then attack it again if you'd like.
I'll do that.
Okay, cool. So you go ahead and make your first attack. It hits. What's the damage?
That's 14, plus I use a divine smite with undead using a level 1 spell slot.
Okay. So it's 14 regular damage, and then what's the divine damage? Do you want me to roll 3d8 for you?
No, I've got.
Okay.
That's
And
15.
15. Okay, so you see the creature fall into the coffin in this like explosion of divine energy that comes from Fiendbleed. You see it fall onto its back, cracked, bones broken, and I love this dice tonight. You see it fall to the ground, and at that point in time, it looks as though it's still twitching, but it is heavily wounded. So, there is...
Can I use my second attack?
You can.
So I use my Divine Sense bonus action to get advantage on all attack rolls on it for a minute.
Okay, cool. So go ahead and make your second attack. With advantage. That'll do it. That 26 is going to go ahead and... Yep, that'll do it. So roll your damage.
And then I use another Divine Smite.
Cool. So that's 11. And then Divine Smite is another 15. So this thing...
Yeah.
You just see this explosion of divine energy as Davos begins swinging into the coffin, just light illuminating, and you hear the shrieks and sort of rattly air that is sort of coming from this skeleton. And it seems as though the face has cracked open with the 2 strikes that you've made. The bones seem to be falling apart, and any of the ligaments that were coming together turn back to dust and just fall into the coffin. You can see now that there is just a pile of bones in front of you, Davos, and the creature seems to have been slain.
I immediately dash over and steal the rest of the shit.
Cool.
Of course you do.
So I can give you guys the entire treasure list, but of note are the set of braces that you take from his body. You see that there are 2 rings, one on the middle finger that is carved of jade, and
I take both.
Sure. So everyone watches Ko just looting this body, taking everything off of it, and you see that there is 2 jade rings that she takes. One is in the form of a man holding the moon, and the other is a panther ready to strike. You can see that there's...
Does anything happen when I put them on?
Right now, are you putting them on?
Yes.
Okay, so you put both of them on, and for a moment you just feel this kind of like pulse of divine, like arcane energy run across you. But you're going to have to spend time with these to understand what they are.
Can I get someone to tell me what they are, or do I have to understand them?
Are you still looting the corpse, or do you want to stop?
Yes.
Okay.
I try to stop Ko. I'm like, hey, you took the rings. Okay, let's.
I kind of look up and I go.
I go, but I use an intimidation check.
It doesn't work.
You can't intimidate her!
Go on ahead.
No NPC! No NPC!
You can intimidate the
Don't make me come for you!
I thought we couldn't intimidate each other, Luke.
Alex.
We can't.
Oh, we're not allowed to? Okay, sorry. Okay, I just do a normal.
So
then.
if you want to try and intimidate Ko, what do you say?
I'm trying to be like nice, but also stern.
Well, what do you say?
Yeah, good one, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Can I do
The party police has come.
Everything.
I'm nice, but I'm stern.
Oh, I killed the vampire. I get to. I mean,
Davos is the Phil Dunphy of paladins.
I'm pretty disappointed. So, Ko, you continue taking things. Everyone is watching you take this, and they know exactly what you have. But you do have a whole heap of equipment, including.
I'm just humming while I'm just shoving it in my bag.
Just like, is it just a regular bag that you've got all of your other supplies in?
I believe so, because I do not have a bag of holding in this game.
Cool. So you take a few items, but the rest of the items end up distributed across the rest of the party.
I take the coolest items then.
Cool. If you would like the most expensive
Coolest and
items,
lightest.
if you would like the most expensive items, you can take the.
I don't want that breastplate. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Too heavy.
Okay. So
Is it heavy armor?
for the sake of ease here, I am going to go ahead and say, Ko, you lift the rings and put them on your fingers. The rest of the wealth is divided amongst the party.
Including you.
Can I ask a question?
She starts,
I'm the best, right?
up into my bag. She's like, Belle, come over here. I've got something really important.
I'm
She's
the
like,
banker.
stuffing it into my bag.
So, Sil.
So that gem, the gem in the mouth.
Yep.
I had my eye on that because I've noticed it. So, also, what happened to the mask?
The
Mask.
mask is still laying there. It looks like it's worth about 200 gold.
Well, I guess we killed it, so no need to fear the items anymore.
Is anyone in the party pure of faith?
Define pure.
Definitely not dark.
The little sausage dog.
I think we should go to Thorax. He's
How's the sausage dog talking?
So,
I guess I would pick them up and say, "Who wants these?"
yeah, so Sil holds up a breastplate and a mask, and they're both worth 200 gold. But again, without getting bogged down in trying to divide loot, I will tally this as gold pieces and say that you go back to town, split the money, being a party that runs together. However, there are some significant items of note. So, Ko, you have taken the 2 rings of jade, and you feel that they are both magically inclined.
Can I start attuning to them?
No, not at the moment. Unless you want to rest for 2 hours, you can't start attuning to them. So,
Who wants to rest for 2 hours?
No.
okay. So, in the
Let's go
meantime,
west.
what is occurring is that you are all looking in, and there are some items of note. There is a flask that has a powder in the bottom of it that looks as though it is something alchemical or arcane. You also see that there is another,
Cocaine.
like a glazed pot that has something rattling around inside of it, and as you lift the lid, you can see there is a piece of mother of pearl. And the rest of the equipment is mostly in smaller items that can be gathered and made into much more.
Are there any like daggers or swords or things?
There are no weapons. However, the only weapon that you can see in the tomb is the axe on the wall.
Can we?
Hi, Art. You go, Magnus.
I was just gonna say, now that we've killed this vampire thing, I just want to go and investigate the axe and see if anything's changed.
I'm going to try pull it out while he's investigating it.
No, so Ko, you're currently looting at a pretty significant pace, so I'll say you're busy for the moment. And while you're looting, Magnus goes across and looks at the axe. So, Magnus, you walk up and you look at this axe in the wall. Are you investigating it in any other way than observing it?
I just want to, I don't want to touch it. I just want to look at it, inspect the wall, see if anything seems to have changed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it doesn't look like it's set in there too deeply or anything. It just looks like the point of the axe is kind of like touching the stone and has been kind of like embedded. Like you can still see the kerf on the blade. Yeah.
Okay, I am... I still don't want to touch it, but I'm going to say, hey, Davos, do you want to give this thing one more go?
I trust him because he is a scholar, so then I just give it a go.
Yeah, cool. You walk up and touch it, and it falls off the wall into your hand.
Yeah, free axe.
So,
You're so strong.
you have
He
a
has this strong
weapon.
hand.
So, Davos, do you have a notebook? Because I'm only going to say this once.
Yes, I've got a notebook right here.
Fantastic. You have a berserker axe. that instead of +1 is a +2 damage to attack and damage rolls. In addition to being a berserker axe, concealed beneath the wrappings around the handle are 3 pieces of parchment. So, Davos doesn't know what they are yet, but can you just write down in your book, Tales from the Yawning Portal, page 69.
Lol.
69.
Okay.
Like who's going on this first?
Yeah.
So
Okay, yeah, what was the next one?
that's all you need to know.
Oh.
Yep. So
Yeah,
you have an axe that's like pretty strong, and once you attune to it, you'll know a little bit more perhaps. So, with the tomb seeming to be as devoid of life as it was before, adventurers standing around not having taken much damage. Belle, could you roll another wisdom check for me? Wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
I
Of
guess.
course.
That one?
Okay. So, for the moment,
How did that go?
it's not so great. Yeah, you feel pretty rough at the minute, and doesn't seem like this curse is going anywhere for the time being. However, you all continue, and standing around, you see that the sausage dog is near the doors of the tomb. What are you all doing?
Someone take
Are we done?
I'm gonna crouch down in front of Thorax and pat my lap as if to say up.
Anything to get anything on your lap?
And Thorax obliges?
It does. But
I'm gonna say he doesn't
way too much.
I'm gonna say he doesn't.
He's
like,
a
jump.
good boy.
Yeah, he doesn't jump up, but he does that thing that small dogs do sometimes, which is raise their back legs and like walking on front legs, and he like backs over towards you with his like butt in the air.
Okay, I scoop him up into my arms.
Cool. So you pick him up.
And I start walking out of the tomb back towards Carcassila. Say, come on, buddy, let's go.
Nice. So you walk back outside and see that Thoju is waiting in the hall. You're all standing around, and you walk back in towards the tomb of Kalkakila. So, as you walk back inside, you descend into a slightly lower floor than the halls, covered in mud. Your feet sort of sink to about ankle depth in this mud, and the same giant crayfish that is almost the guardian of like the great creature in this temple kind of like raises back up again onto his front legs, claws up in the air, and he just looks at you all and he's like, "What are you doing back here so soon?"
I say, apologies, but if we could address the Guardian again.
I'm not sure that is going to be acceptable. And then you just see that the mass behind begins to shift and croak and groan, the shell rolls back for a second, and you see that these 2 eye stalks begin to poke out from underneath. You see the mouth parts beginning to, rub over each other and click, and it looks towards you, Magnus, and it says, East was not so good then.
No, the way east was unfortunately blocked.
But it's full of food.
So we would once again seek your counsel. Would you advise us to go north or west?
Well, if east was not easy passage, I would say west.
Is there anything in that direction that we should be aware of or worried about?
Oh, many things, but I know none of them. I only knew of people that came towards the temple at times, but they would come in here and see me grow, but I never left this chamber. I was brought here when I was very young.
Do you ever dream of seeing the outside world again?
Do you ever dream of seeing the outside world again?
And you see him kind of pensively, like, thinking back many, many years. And he kind of stops for a second and he's like, this is all I know. I am not sure what is outside of this tomb.
Nothing good.
Do you want me to ask him anything else, Sil?
Nah, I was just curious. He's a creature. I'm interested in creatures. He's not going to try and kill me as far as I can tell, so I'm pretty cool with him.
Okay, well then I will thank him again for his aid and wish him a pleasant slumber.
Thank you. I will certainly rest well now. So, you begin venturing west, and you can see that to your west there is a doorway, and as you push your way through the doorway, it looks as though there is a set of stairs ahead that slope downwards. Just give me half a moment. So, gonna go ahead and you're heading west. Fantastic. So, you get down to the end of this hall and can see that there is a doorway that opens inwards. You're just continuing along?
Yes.
Do we want to hold on? I'll check for traps.
Good idea.
Yeah, true.
Not a bad idea. So, as you walk down into this area, roll an investigation check for me, Magnus.
That's a 9. Looks fine, guys. Looks fine.
Like, it legitimately does. It's a relatively, old door, but it doesn't seem to be like a trapped door as such.
I trust him entirely because he is a man of knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, why would he lie to you? There's no reason to do that.
I step through the door.
Cool. So, as you step through the door, you can see that there is a room ahead of you. The room is wet, and the walls are covered with a slimy white buildup that you've seen throughout the rest of this dungeon. I'm just going to go ahead and reveal the rest of this room for a moment, and then I will go ahead and be able to continue reading. So,
which door do I walk through?
You would be walking through this door right now. So,
Okay.
the room is wet and the walls are covered with a slimy white buildup. There is about 1.5 inches of water and mud blanketing the floor. Many overturned pedestals and pieces of broken statuary lie on the floor, partially buried in the mud. The opposite entrance to this room is another door. Only one pedestal remains standing in the northwest corner. On it sits a small metallic 3-sided pyramid. Overhead, in the shadowy draped ceiling, are inlaid coloured tiles depicting a starry night and forming strange patterns in the areas above the pedestals.
I walk.
Oh, sorry, Magnus. All I was going to say is that you can see here, at the point next to the door, is essentially where that that pedestal is still standing.
I'm gonna walk inside while scritching Thorax behind the ears as I carry him, and I want to look up and see if I recognize any of the symbols.
Yeah, for sure. No worries. So as you walk in, you take a bit of a look around and can see a few of the symbols across the sky. Just roll a nature check for me here.
Nature, sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm great at nature. I'm not. That's a 10.
A 10. Okay. So you can see at the moment that at least one of the constellations that is on the roof of this room appears to be familiar.
Okay, just familiar. I don't ascribe any kind of meaning to it.
No meaning, as it essentially is a replication of the night sky.
Cool. I'll let the others know. I'm like, hey, that looks a lot like the normal night sky. Maybe just some sort of recreation. And I guess I'll wander over and check out the thing on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're in the room now, are we? Yeah. You went in and we're all in?
I haven't entered. No, I haven't entered. I'm still at the doorway.
Neither have I.
Can I walk to the other door?
Yeah, you can walk across for sure. Yep. It seems like that door also is open.
Okay. I open the door while looking at Magnus,
Great.
seeing
So
what he's doing.
Magnus, you're looking at this door here, and can see that there is, a fair amount of, what would you call it? You're looking at this pedestal, sorry, and you can just see this, this triangular, prism that is sitting atop the pedestal, and it looks like one side is missing. You can actually read that there is an inscription along the bottom that says Apoketekel. It looks as though there is a god inscribed, carved onto one side of the pyramid, and then on the two other sides that are present, it looks as though there is a lightning strike that has been carved into the side, and a moon that is represented.
Okay, do I have any idea who Apoketekel is?
Roll a religion check.
Not a history check?
No, this is
Can I just ask quickly, is Thorax still being held by Magnus?
Magnus. Is Thorax still being held by you?
Yeah, I'm still scritching him as I take a look.
Thorax jumps out the arms and attacks the pyramid.
Cool. So,
Was a 19 religion.
okay, so you think that this could be one of the old gods that was worshipped here. You're not super familiar with Maztica and the religious society that there was, but you think perhaps this is a not a relic but a homage to one of the gods of lightning and the moon.
Okay, so I guess Thorax jumps out of my arms and attacks the pyramid.
Cool. So this silver pyramid, Thorax jumps out of his arms, kind of lands on the pedestal and just knocks it off into the mud. Cool.
Is Thoju with us?
Thoju is going to have a hard time trying to make his way through these doors. Each time he does, you see that he's squishing through as much as froghemothly possible through a 5-foot space for this, very wide creature. And every time it seems as though it's taking its toll on him. It's not necessarily causing him damage, but he's following along. It's quite difficult for him though. And at the moment, I'll go ahead and just sit him with Thorax here, and move them both into the hall where you guys are at the moment.
Well, I mean, Thorax thorax is attacking a pyramid, yes?
Indeed, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
But Soju's
here,
been a bit lagging behind lately anyway.
I'd say
So
so.
that's cool.
So-
So Thorax knocked the pyramid off the plinth thing, and now he's trying to stand on his hind legs and look like a statue.
Cool.
Oh no, hind leg, one leg only.
Just one leg, and he's like standing there, just like, you know, still in his small dog.
Can I roll a d20 to see how long he can keep that pose for?
Certainly. Roll a Constitution check for him.
The 15 plus whatever his... Oh no, sorry, an 8 plus whatever his constitution is.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it's relatively low. You see him stand there for about a minute, and his leg starts to shake, and he falls off into the mud. While I'm doing this, can someone go ahead and double check what the if they've got their player's handbook there, how long a beast shape land lasts for, whether it's an hour or whether it's several minutes. Should just be under druid. But in the meantime, what's your name? Davos. You said that you were...
Number of hours equal to half your druid level and
Oh,
down.
what's his face?
Cool. So 3 hours. So he just is a dog at the moment. So you can see that there's definitely, you know, he's able to hold this up for the moment. All right. So as you walk into this next room, Davos, again, you can see the same slime that coats the rest of these halls. You begin to look throughout this section of hallway. You can see that immediately in front of you, once I do the thing about revealing areas, immediately in front of you is a floor. The floor is covered in a layer of mud. Through this muck is a steady stream of water that trickles northward. The stucco on the walls is flaking off, and there are glowing silver tracks in the slime crisscrossing the walls and the ceiling. Along the east wall of the passage stands a 12-foot stone statue of a man, which you can kind of see as that star that is most of the way down the hall. Outfitted in fine clothing and holding a stone tray in his raised arms. His eyes appear to be black gemstones. The right one droops out of its socket, balancing on the statue's cheek. From behind the left shoulder protrudes the hilt of a weapon, most likely a sword. The stone tray, as well as the forehead and nose, are chipped and scratched. So that's what you can see as you move into the room. And I'd say that to see all of that, you've probably moved to the corner here.
Yeah. Can I do an investigation check on the statue?
For sure. So go ahead and let me know what your score is there.
Uh, 12.
Okay, so what are you trying to determine?
Just so, cause I guess not magic, because that's arcana, right? Just seeing if there's any information on it or anything.
So anything like inscribed into it or like carved on it? Yeah, you can see that like the stone statue has been carved with like similar finery to the rest of the like tribal society. So there's like feathers that are carved onto the stone. Definitely looks like it's been here for a long time, but yeah, it stands relatively tall, and the sword at its back is quite high up on the wall. From your first inspections, you think that's about what you'd know about it.
Is it like a real sword or a carved sword?
As you get closer, you can see that it looks to be not stone. Looks as though the handle is made of like some kind of wrapped hide, and that the pommel on the sword is made of fine metals.
Ooh.
Hmm. Hmm. What's going on?
He's
I don't know.
admiring the noises of
You
the
tell
dungeon
me.
in the background.
He's like, oh, I got a blog about this one.
So
Yeah, can I just like walk up and grab the sword?
wait, what traps? Check for traps.
Well, you gotta check quickly.
So I mean,
Let me.
the statue's not
My
exactly
character just
short.
walks head into things.
Yeah, so you walk up and you can see the stone tray that this statue is holding is like at where you could reach with your hands. It looks like this thing's probably about maybe 15, 20 feet tall. So you could reach up to the stone platform that it's holding and like put yourself up the top, and then you'd probably be able to reach over and grab the sword. But yeah, that's up to you if you want to do that.
Let me just give it a once over first, please.
Okay. But after that, I'm gonna ask Syl for leg up.
Okay, so Magnus,
Fuck.
if you want to go
It's
ahead
a
and
12. So.
Okay, so you walk up and have a look at the statue as well.
Hmm.
Okay, so move yourself up
Yeah,
to where you
I'm
want
checking
to have.
specifically. Cool.
Yep.
Cool. First, I would like to check for traps. Oh wait, he's walked over there, so it's probably fine. So I'll walk over there.
Yep, seems like it's okay.
Uh,
So you're
and
standing
I'll check
immediately
the
in front of
statue
it.
for traps.
Cool. So your investigation check was a 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's trapped. Like, I mean, there's no obvious pressure points or plates or anything like that. Looks a little old, but it's just been, like, the legs are sturdy. The top of it is very broad. But yeah.
Okay, so I take a step back and I'm like, do what you will.
I call over Syl to give me a boost so I can try and grab the sword.
Alright. I'm in the other room, but I'm like sort of in the doorway between the two rooms. So I guess I hear this?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Syl, come over here.
Oh, alright, yep, cool. Oh, also, I'm controlling Thoju, apparently. And I
Okay.
just assume he'll try to go into the larger room and sort of have a quick break.
Yep.
He's pretty tired of squeezing through tight doorways, I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
he's chilling in the mud, just like rolling around, loving life. So you see-
Thorax does the same because he's tired because he had to stand on one leg.
yeah, for sure. So Thorax is just chilling back here with Thoju for the minute. Ko, what are you doing? Are you there?
She is BRB, also known as Burb.
Oh, she's Burb.
Oh, Burb.
She's a Burb.
Yes.
Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and move her also into the room of mud. And for the minute...
I think the real Ko would do it stealthily.
Oh, definitely. She's like under the mud, like just like army crawling through, and really just mudding up her armor. But anyway, Syl, you walk through and see both Magnus and Davos standing before this statue. You walk past Falcor and Bell. Falcor kind of just like looking over some of the jewels that you guys picked up in the most recent room. And as you walk up towards this statue, you can see that, yeah, Davos is after that sword that's on this creature's back. This structure's back.
Okay.
Oh crap!
What do you need me to do? Okay, I said, okay, what do you need me to do?
I sheath my sword and put my shield on my back. I'm like, give me a boost.
Okay.
Grab this
Yeah.
sword.
I feel really lazy and tired, but I think that's my human side of things, not my character.
What do you want me to
So
give you a
still-
boost?
Still would be more than happy to give a boost.
Nice.
Actually, are you in heavy armor?
Oh yeah.
I would probably decline and say I'm more the kind to be boosted than do the boosting.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, grab it. It looks cool.
Alright. I would like to quickly vault off of what Davos's like surprisingly like jump on him and try and jump up there.
Yeah, for sure. So you like jump off of the center of Davos's back, landing onto this stone platform that's at the top, and even with your slight elven frame, you immediately just hear and the sound of stone cracking below your feet. So as you land on this platform that this statue is holding, you feel the entire statue beginning to fall forward towards yourself, Davos, and Magnus. So what is going to happen is that all three of you please make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
And
Lol,
Bell
lol, 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 lol.
make a wisdom saving throw.
I got 14.
I got a natural 20.
Okay.
I got a 6.
Okay, cool. So, Sil.
I got,
Davos.
okay.
Okay, and Bell.
Yes.
What did you
I'm
get?
so excited. I got 17 or 18 plus 3.
So,
Please take it away from me.
With disadvantage, you got a 17.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in time, you feel the curse leave your body as you manage to resolve yourself enough to be rid of it. However, you kind of focus and feel like elation for a moment, and then you look up immediately to where your friends are and see a 15-foot stone statue of a warrior falling forward, Magnus barely rolling out of the way, and both Sil and Davos being crushed underneath it for a moment, taking 7 bludgeoning damage from the falling statue.
Son of a bitch. I've
Seriously,
only
Sil,
been
never
damaged
help
by
them.
rocks. I kicked
Don't
a
ever
rock and
help
then I
the
got
party.
hurt. Oh,
You have to be more
bloody
selfish.
useless bastards.
So,
You said 7, yeah?
said,
Rage quits.
I did say 7. So Davos and Sil, you both take 7 bludgeoning damage. However, you do find
So
that there
is
is...
this
Yeah, I was going to say the sword is intact.
sword near us?
Yeah, it's very close by, in fact. You
Is
kind of
it
like
a short sword or a long sword? What's the shape of this sword?
you go ahead and pull it out, and you can see that there is this sword that has jagged teeth of obsidian. It looks as though it is a long sword that's in very fine condition, but there looks to be vines like inscribed across the steel of the blade, and then the obsidian teeth along the outside make you feel that it is a magical weapon of some sort.
Can I do an Arcana check to see what it does?
You are proficient in your Arcana?
No.
No. So roll with disadvantage.
That's 16 minus 1.
So 15. So yeah, so you are, while not being proficient with Arcana, you're relatively, adept at military weaponry. And when you look at this sword, you think that it's a +1 longsword, which would do +1 to damage and attack rolls. And it looks as though, stringing together what you know about magic, it looks like it will do some extra damage to creatures that may be of the plant type.
Sound people.
Maybe that would be something. Maybe that'd be something that Falcor would enjoy.
Yeah, Falco, do you wanna buy some?
Whoa. I took a lot of damage for this.
Oh, do you want
sword.
that as well? I thought you liked sticks.
You don't use bladed weapons.
I am proficient with longswords, mind you. Damn it.
But it's not a monk weapon, right? So you'll lose all your monk shit.
Yeah, well, I have a little bit of strength. You bastard.
I'm sure. I'm offering it.
It won't be as sharp as the elven nips, though.
Yeah, nothing is. Nothing ever is. 100 piercing damage if it gets you in the eye.
Nice. So, yeah,
Yeah, I don't
Except
need this
blindness.
sword. I begrudgingly give it up after taking some damage out of my own tomfoolery.
fair. Still, the only thing.
This sword. Also, do you want Fiend Bleed?
I wouldn't say no, but is it better for me or Bell?
Oh wait,
able to
can
have
you
it, or-
use the longsword in one hand, right?
Yes,
I think so.
it's not.
It is-
It's
yeah,
not
it's not
two-handed or
finesse.
heavy, but you have the option.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not crazy.
Yep.
It's
Okay,
versatile, I believe it is.
that'd be it. So you can roll it. I think it's a D8 or a D10 or a D6 or a D8. I can't remember. I think it's a D8, D10.
D8, D10.
I've got a great
Roll
sword
the
in the
die.
bag. It's D6, so I don't know what a longsword would do.
So a longsword
It's
would be
D8,
D8.
D10.
Yep. So
really?
Yeah. I'll give you my sword once I attune to my axe when we have a rest.
Sure, thank you.
So, at this point in time, you notice Syl having a. I'd assume your passive is higher than Davos.
16, probably.
Yeah, easily.
And
You notice that as you look up to where the statue had fallen, behind you can see that there is an open section of wall, probably only about maybe 3 feet, but it looks as though it could be cracked away further, as though this statue falling has revealed some kind of hidden passage that could head further to the east from where you are currently.
Can we
Yeah.
send Thorax in?
Well, hang on. Only Syl has noticed this. He has a monopoly on that information.
It's true. It's,
So I use this moment to point out to the party that there is a crack in the wall.
What a dick.
well played, sir.
Yep.
Well played. So yes, you look up
Carry
and
on.
as you, yeah, for sure. As you go ahead and look towards this room, you can see that there's water that beads collecting upon points of the wall of this narrow passage, and the flooring is cold and damp. The low ceiling is only about 5 feet tall and makes this place feel really like cramped and dank. You do, however, see that it is roughly this far to the corner if you would like to follow that direction. Otherwise, ahead of you, you can see that there are 2 double doors.
I vote we go the crack way.
Secret passage.
Yeah, I didn't fall over and get hurt for nothing. Although potentially that is exactly what happened.
Although that's exactly what I did.
Yes. Alright. You want to... Wait, have we opened the crack yet?
You can, yeah, I mean, by looking into it and kind of moving a few pieces of stone that fall away, it makes a 5-foot round gap.
Good.
You don't believe that Thoju would be able to fit through here, but that's up to you guys what you want to do.
I vote we send someone in who has a light source.
Well, I'll just
Can
send
you
in
fly?
some crows, some light crows
I
down the passage.
I think I still have a light source on me, don't I? Like from last week.
Yeah, it'd probably be getting close to the end of the hour-long spell, but like Bell can re-up that with a cantrip like quite easily. You notice that it's just
Yeah,
starting
it's just a
to diminish a
cantrip.
little. You just like poof, cast it again, and Falcor is now carrying this source of light ahead of him.
But
uh,
yeah, I'll chuck some crows down the passageway as well.
Cool. So you illuminate it, and you can see that the passageway heads north and begins to turn towards, the north. There is another long section that it seems as though the crows begin to head down, but you've got no idea what's down there until someone ventures forth.
Oh, I can hear that dripping.
Oh, can I look at those? Can I check those obsidian things from the eyes?
Yeah, that like you find them amongst amongst the rubble, and you can see that there's two like very nicely polished pieces of obsidian that are like rounded on the top and like to a point at the base, and they look like they're worth about 10 gold each. So mark them down on your inventory. Yeah, so who's heading forth?
Well, not to be that guy, but should we check for traps?
Yes, we shall.
Hit by a statue.
Belle, do you want to check for traps? You're slightly better at this than I am.
Yep, sure.
Thanks.
Nice. So, Belle, please roll an
I
investigation.
just lost my D20 underneath the bed.
No!
Oh, it was a 3, and I've lost my dice in my bed.
It's got underneath. But yeah, it was a crap throw, but no one else needs to know. So I just said, oh, I can't see anything.
Yep, looks pretty alright.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yup.
Marching order, I guess.
Yeah, please. Let me know who's heading forth.
Who would like to go first?
I'll give it a whirl.
Okay, so Falcor's out front.
I'll go in. I'll go in after.
Falcor, Davos, and I'm assuming that I'll say, and all the rest, because for the moment, Falcor, you look ahead, can see this hall seems to stretch forth for roughly another 60 or so feet, and it looks as though it ends in like a section of broken wall, as though something has kind of moved this away from the rest of the passage that's ahead.
Is it blocking it?
No, it looks like you could make your way through. Like it's definitely broken away in some spots. And if you wanted to head up, you think that you could probably look into the next room.
Sure, shall do so.
Cool.
Should I do a perception check somewhat to look through, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to stick your head in and have a look around, I can tell you what it looks like.
Shall do that. Rolling. Yeah.
Cool. So.
Cool. 16 plus... Oh, 20.
Nice. So, you can see that this hole is strewn with mud and flotsam. Water accumulates in the center of the corridor and flows towards the west, to where a stone block in the southern wall has shifted out of place, where you are coming through currently. The corridor turns north, and the flow of water follows it, and then goes under a door made of bronze-bound wood. The door has a handle and a keyhole. And that's what you can see currently.
Alright, it sounds not too dangerous. We hop over the...
The what?
The rubble? Can we hop over it?
Yep. Yeah, you move out into this room and you can see that at one end there is certainly like a set of double doors, and at the other there is that single, like in the north on the left, on the west end of the hall, there is a single door that is brass bound. It looks like water is running underneath it, and it's locked in place.
Does anyone do lockpicking?
Yeah.
Rogue? She's a bit MIA still, isn't she?
Oh, okay.
I believe
She is
so.
now
Yeah,
the
one of-
Taylor.
Yeah,
Does anyone want to be Co?
Yeah, Fandler's playing Ko.
I mean,
I believe I
okay.
heard Ko say bark, bark, bark.
Bork, Borky dog.
Can you please put on Co's voice, Dan?
No,
Franco's voice.
I can't. So, like,
Yeah,
guys, there's a thing, and I'm gonna steal it. And if I don't steal it, I'm gonna...
I don't want to surprise you, but she's right behind you.
Oh my god, she's right behind me! But
She's
seriously,
trying to take the door apart. So.
So, Ko, please put your headset back on so we can continue the game.
Please tell her she's taken 25 damage.
So, Ko, are you there?
Did I tell her I say hi?
Yeah.
Ko, Belle says hi.
Hello. Hi.
Good. So you've just walked into a room and you can see that Falcor is looking around. There is a set of double doors at the eastern end, and at the northern end, the northwestern end, there is a single brass-bound timber door that appears to be locked currently.
Okay.
Yeah. So
We would like you to employ your lockpicking skills.
I'll pick her open.
cool. So please roll a what type of check should I make you make? Go ahead and roll a
All of them.
dexterity
Medicine.
check with your thieves' tools, because this door is luckily not trapped.
But the door could be
not
worth
that
money.
store.
So 20 total. Cool. So you go ahead and manage to sit there for a while, picking at it, and eventually you hear the lock within click out of place, and the door begins to swing open. You can see here that there is a room in front of you. Looks relatively small, actually. Stairs head downward from where you are, and if you give me half a second here, I'll go ahead and let you know what you can see.
Lots of loot.
No, not lots of loot.
Ellie's eating something delicious and not sharing.
A magic
What are you
staff.
Oh, that's Subway. Is that Subway or is that... No, that's homemade.
No, that is a Woolworths cookie that was on special because it was the end of the day.
La-dee-da.
Hey.
Wine.
End of the week special, you mean?
No. Even worse. No,
$1.76.
even like we put it in the freezer, so we have cookies in the freezer. This is a
You distrust me.
Okay, so
My
Ko,
research used to be
That's
very
weird.
high for you.
You can
Blue,
see
it's
that
just crumbing
as you can see that as you open this door and look. Oh, your video's gone. Anyway, you can see that as you open this door, stairs descend for about 10 feet, and then it looks as though there is an area that's 20-foot square and filled with water. You can see on the other side of the room there is a doorway that appears to be covered to what you would assume is about the 5-foot mark. The rest of this room appears to be just full of water.
Does the water gush out at me?
Does it what?
No, it's down some stairs.
Ah, okay.
Are you looking at Roll20? Because that would probably help with the interpretation of what's going on. But you've essentially...
Oh, the
It's a jacuzzi.
So
It's a jacuzzi.
it essentially is a 20-foot jacuzzi that may be hot or cold water. You have no idea. And there's a door on the opposite side of the room. What are you doing?
I inform the rest of the party. And is there any like loose stones that I can throw into to see what happens?
Yeah,
Good idea.
You found a stone on the stairway as you've walked in. Pick it up, throw it in. You just hear, and kind of falls through the
Nice.
water.
Did you just make that
I
with your
pick up
mouth, or
another
did you have a
stone
button?
and skip it.
You made him. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's amazing.
falls.
I pick up another stone and try to skip it again.
Cool. You attempt to skip it across
That's
the
me
water.
the
It
guy from
goes,
Police Academy.
yeah, it just skims twice, hits the door on the other side, and goes, dong, and then falls into the water again.
I shrug my shoulders and say, "Who's first?"
I
What
shake my head.
longest item we have?
I have a
Probably-
5-foot
Yeah, I was gonna say probably like an 8-foot
Oh.
staff.
Phil's nipples. Wait, my staff?
Yeah, you've probably got a staff that's about 8 feet long, and that'd be about the distance that, you know.
Well, I am a
Wait,
wood
that
elf, if you get my gist.
Lol, 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 lol.
Am I with the party, and am I still a dog?
At this point, you'd still be a dog. Thoju cannot venture where you have gone to now. If you're trying to find on Roll20 where everyone is, it's pretty much immediately north of you, Thorax. And Ko, I'm going to go ahead and shift you up into that room because you are lazy. So you're just inside that
And
door.
just to confirm, I am still a dog?
You are still a dog. You are still your sausage dog form. So
Well, everybody knows that dogs can't drown, and off I go.
I mean, sure.
Doggy paddle with like your tiny little legs?
All right. You
No,
surely
I take
actually
off at
think that sausage dog can't swim. Hey,
I take off at a trot, and then I kind of forget that how water works. So I trot as if I'm going to just continue trotting across the top of the water, and when I get in, it's panic mode. I just panic. It's so wet. It's so cold. I'm terrified. And
pretty
yeah,
terrible.
I'm just full doggy paddle panic mode.
Yep. So you're just like, I'm gonna just randomly. Oh, I get a D20. Yay! I'm gonna go ahead and you're going to be currently in, let's say, this square across one. And you're just like doggy paddling around, trying to scrape at the walls, and you kind of like go under again and begin paddling around again. Ko, you're watching from the top of the stairs, and you can just see Thorax's form just like doing little whirlpools and like swimming around. What's
I am entertained by this.
Falcor, you're kind of watching from a slight distance. What are you up to?
well, my thoughts are, does it look safe after he's hopped in?
Yeah, you watch for a minute. Looks pretty safe. I mean, he's not freaking out. Except for freaking out about
Let me
swimming.
look at that map. Does it look like you can make it to the door from the water, or not really?
I mean, if you can swim, you could get across to the door. You're assuming.
I kind of want to just keep the light going and let one of them open the door if I can.
So yeah, so across on the other side, you can see the top 1 foot of a door, like above the water's surface. The rest of the door is submerged.
Can is there a ledge around that I can like edge around the edge of it?
You can jump in the water and find out.
I think this is one of those hold your breath
Like,
moments.
is it like on the wall? Is there anything to hold on?
Oh, above the surface?
Yeah.
No. It's just like sheer walls. Looks like a room that's been full of water.
So who's good at holding their breath?
I
I
have
think it would be me, but it's not.
Well, can't Thorax turn into some sort of aquatic creature?
He's distracted. Also, just keep in mind before you come into the water, it's at least as deep as a sausage dog.
I think holding your
I stick
breath
my
is probably
sword on in to see how deep it is. Is it less than sword depth?
If you're
I mean, more than sword depth?
you poke the sword in and you get your fingertips to the water level, and it hasn't touched the ground.
We can safely say that it's normal height if we can see the top of a door, I assume.
Can I look at the water and sort of, well, I guess go towards it and see if it's like what kind of source it came from?
Yeah, so I mean, like,
Where did it
you
come
can
from?
from the hole that you have here, that you're in here at the moment, you can see that there's like a section that is dripping from the roof, about halfway down the
Right.
hall here, that appears to be collecting
Yeah.
and then running towards the west and down into this room.
Yes. I
So we
see.
can
Yep.
safely say that
I'll let it.
it's on an incline then. So like the hallway's going up on an incline if it's coming down.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
I mean, you'd think that
Hmm.
the hallway would be inclining towards the east.
Yep.
Yeah, up. Yeah, incline up. Yeah. Yeah, incline.
Luke, while this is happening, can I please minor illusion a shark fin going around Thorax?
Easily.
Yes.
You have no issue doing that. And Thorax, for a moment,
Don't
you
we
see
just
this.
spell slot from this?
You see this shark fin just begin like circling you. What are you gonna do? Oh no, have we lost Thorax?
Am I
Oh,
able
no,
to cast spells in this state?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, what's your passive perception?
Good question.
You
It
talking-
is 18 plus 5, 23.
Wait, passive perception is 23.
Well, unless Roll20's already given it to me, I have a feat called Observant, which gives me plus 5.
Okay,
So,
your
like,
usual...
maybe it was 13 to start with, maybe.
Yeah. So I'd say if your perception skill is plus 3, is that the case?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yes, it's plus
so
3.
18 is your passive. So, Magnus, what's your spell DC?
Oh, not that high. It's definitely not that high. It's like 14.
Okay, so you immediately notice it's an illusion, Thorax. After a quick second of like your heart stopping for a moment, you go, that's an illusion.
Luckily, that illusion has reminded me that I can cast spells, so I begin to splash my way over to the wall and meld into stone.
Okay, cool. So you meld into stone.
As you do.
Like to the west of where your token is right now.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So you see.
So I think, Luke, if he wants to discern that my illusion is not an illusion, it's an intelligence check.
Ah, that's a good point. Okay, so
He's pushing the DM. Get him.
No,
Let's
it's a good
smash
point.
him.
Make sure you know your skills, and Matt does. So at this point, Thorax, go ahead and roll a. This would be investigation or insight.
That would be 19 plus 3.
Okay,
Whoa.
so you notice that it's an illusion, and you meld into stone. And I am going to go ahead and say, because you're going off map, where would you like to go? How far and what distance?
As soon as my head
What
leaves the
direction?
water, I relax, so I'm half in, half out of the wall.
Oh, okay, cool. That's fine.
Can I yell to him to go check out the door since he's already in it?
Yeah.
Can't
you can-
hear, my ears are full of stone.
Yeah, so his head is in the wall.
Only half. You're only half in it.
Yeah, but he put his head in the wall. And you can cast.
Oh yeah, no.
Can you cast spells in your dog form?
I think so? I think so, yes. Should be able
Yep.
to.
Okay, cool. So that's fine. So you stick your head in the wall. Can you breathe? Is everything okay there?
Yeah, basically, I'm in stasis. I can cast spells, but I can't really tell what's in or out
Okay.
of the wall. Oh, sorry, I can't tell what's on the outside of the wall, and I can't really interact with the wall. But whenever I'm ready, I can leave it. So I'm going to take about a minute or two to compose myself, and then I'll pop back out.
Nice. Okay. So you pop back out. For the minute or two that you see just the back half of the sausage dog hanging out of the wall, what are the rest of you doing?
I'm yelling,
watching and
so-
being entertained.
Yeah, being entertained. I'm just like looking at them all, literally half disappointed, half like expecting them to be like this, shaking my head and be like, to Ko, so are they actually even trying to open up the door? They're just trying to show off.
Show off, obviously.
So, or are we just going to watch them for a bit longer?
Let's watch them humiliate themselves.
Okay.
So Belle, you do notice that as you and Sil
Yeah.
were discussing the source of the water, that while there is a door to the north, there is also 2 double doors to the east.
Okay. Oh yeah, down the thing. So I go, hey. I'm like, hey, Co, I'm gonna check out the other doors quickly whilst everyone's still like just playing around in the water.
Let me know if you need a locksmith.
You know I'm not in the water.
Alright.
That hurts right here.
Cool, thanks.
Cool.
Right in your heart. And I turn to Belko, I'll be like, hey, these doors are out.
I'm assuming you said let's go to the double doors.
Yep.
Okay, I can hear you. Let's
Yeah.
we do that. I have source. I fear the water,
Alright,
so I'll
cool.
go with that.
I'm guessing, wait, have people already checked for traps within this corridor or not?
Nope.
Nope. We trust
Alright, can I
Nope.
quickly do it?
Nope.
great Kalkakila.
Hello?
That's a
If you would like
bad
to,
idea.
if you would like to check for traps, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Sorry, was Gabby doing
It's
that
not
or am
going
I
to be
doing
very
that?
high. It is 12.
12. As far as you can tell currently, it doesn't seem like this is trapped in any kind of way. And as you move towards the door at the other end of the room, what are you doing?
I'm just looking around at the stones, trying to see if there's like any differences in like color or texture, or see if there's any like platforms or anything movable,
For sure.
like any traps or anything on the floor.
Yeah, you begin moving forth, and it doesn't seem like there's any issues at all. But after you make it about 2/3 of the way down the corridor, the barest sound begins to kind of cut through the silence. You can just hear this
Guards in the water.
melodic kind of female voice that appears to be coming from further down the hall and potentially in the next room. The sound is somewhat
Alright.
unfamiliar, but very soothing and kind of there's something magical about the way that she is singing. Not necessarily arcane magic, but it doesn't seem like it's a song that you'd hear at a tavern.
I I turned to Falco. I'm like, can you hear that?
Yes, I can.
I'm like, should we go tell the others that we can hear something in the next room?
Yeah, we probably should, because it's something scary, potentially. We need teamwork.
Alright, we sure do. So I go back, and then obviously Ko is... I can't really talk for Ko, but I'm just assuming that she's not really joining in with all the boys splashing the water. And I'm like, hey, look, Falco and I investigated. Yeah, I'm always correct. And I'm like, yeah, so we heard a woman's voice coming from the next, potentially the next room.
Did she sound hot?
Yes.
I go check it out.
Alright.
Based on the voice, it
Based
sounds
on
like
everybody else.
she would look like Rosie Dawn.
I still check it out.
I am coming
What do I need to roll to check it out?
I mean, you can kick the doors.
So then
in and
I
go
make
run
a
into the
louder
room if you want.
announcement.
Like guys,
Surprise!
you can either just run around this dungeon and yell and scream and kill everything you come across, or you can tell me what you would like to do, because I can't tell you.
I would like to sneak up on the doors and listen and see what I can hear.
Okay, so if you would like to sneak up, roll a stealth check.
Can I ask quickly when we're listening
Also-
to it?
Well,
Okay, 12, and you also please move your token on roll 20 to where you would like to be, because that's going to help me a lot, so that I can
Oh,
tell
no.
No, it's not anything bad. It's just that if you don't move your token, I don't know where you are.
So then you can.
So we're back.
I've
And
got
then I'm
to
back
where Belle
again
first
at the same
heard the
place.
noise, just in case it's like a trap or something, and then I check it out.
If you want to check for traps, go ahead and roll an investigation check, please.
Whilst we heard the voice in shop, were there words to it, or was it just a melody?
It just seemed like a melody. None of the words seemed to make
Are
any
you
sense.
sure you want me to roll an investigation
Okay.
check?
You said you wanted to roll and check for traps, so tell me what your investigation score was.
4.
4. It doesn't seem to be trapped at all.
It doesn't look like anything to you.
Yeah.
Hooray.
I just walk up nonchalantly to the door and see if it's locked.
The door doesn't appear to be locked. They'd seem like 2 stone doors and could swing inwards. And from the crack where the doors like meet up, you can hear on the opposite side that there's a faint melodious sound that comes from ahead. It's difficult to tell whether it's someone singing whether it's someone singing or if it's the echoing of like dripping water in like a very, very large cavern.
I peer through the crack.
Okay, so just give me half a second here with your...
Do I need to make a roll for that?
No. Okay, so immediately you hear a squeal and a splash as you kind of crack the door open. You hear the stone grinding against itself. You can see that the room is lit by a soft light that reveals a section of rocky beach. Just give me half a moment here and I will show you what the room looks like. So, immediately ahead of you is a section of rocky beach. And Co, please move up to the door. Thank you. Beyond the beach is a pool of glowing water, filling half the room and framed by a crystal cavern. Green fronds can be seen in the pool. Light seems to flow from everywhere. The pool and walls glisten like soft moonlight. On the far side of the pool is a set of doors carved with a sun symbol.
Do I recognize the sun symbol as something belonging to Davos?
Roll a religion check.
I'm also calling Thorax to come with me to back the rest of the party.
Cool. So
Still in the wall.
Yeah, he's still in the wall. But you roll an 8 for what again? Sorry, Co?
Religion.
Religion. Okay. You don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, sure. Davos talks about the sun a lot. Maybe.
I called Davos over regardless. Because the sun. He prays to that thing.
It's true.
I'm like,
This is true.
Davos! I got you God over here!
I'm very interested, but I'm still waiting for Thorax.
Can't keep the gods waiting, they'll get angry.
Is Kelvin actually there, or is he just...
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Alright, I'll pop out of the wall.
Cool. So yeah, you pop out and you can
Pop
see
out
that
of the wall and
fall back into
I look pleadingly at Davos.
Nice.
Can I reach him?
Nah,
he's
probably
about-
not. You probably have to kind of come into the water.
Yeah, I mean, he's about 10 feet away.
I jump in to drag him over to the stairs.
Yeah, you jump into the water, you sink to about your shoulder depth, and then your feet hit like a soft, sedimenty mud. And you can walk across just a neck-deep water. The water is quite cold, but yeah, you walk across, grab Thorax, and begin to make your way back across towards the staircase. It takes a few moments to, like, mantle yourself onto the top of this staircase again and get back out into the hall. You're dripping wet at this point in time. and you slowly come up to join the rest of the group. So, what are you all doing?
I stand in the middle of the group and I shake as vigorously as I can.
Cool.
I like shield myself from it. I'm like, oh.
And then I sneeze, like a little cute doggy sneeze.
Nice.
I shake but politely.
You shake what, sorry?
My dog's the worst.
But politely.
Yep. You just kind of like, what would you call it? Like, just wring your arms off into, like, the, like, edges of the room, away from the rest of the group. However, at this point in time...
I go to look at the sun.
Sure, so you come up beside Ko, and kind of push the other door open, and while you...
And as that's like I point to the sun and I'm like, see, it's your god!
Is it? Is it really though?
Yeah, the sun. Duh.
Davos,
That's what teenagers say, right?
It's quite obvious that this is not anything to do with Lathander.
This is not Lathander's symbol.
But Lathander's the sun.
What's this happening?
Yeah.
What's this happening? Can I do an investigation check to see whether I can locate whether the voice is coming from this room?
Yeah, for
or like
sure.
a perception test?
I mean,
check?
Yeah, so as you look around, go ahead and roll a perception check for me, and let me know what you get there.
A 10.
10. So you can't quite find the source of the singing, and you're not sure now. Like, you did hear a squeal as Ko like pushed the door open. There was a bit of noise that went on in that kind of period of time, and it sounded like something jumped into the water. But as you look around and you can see all of this light emanating from the water in front of you, you can't sort of see like a source where it may be coming from, like what the singing might have been coming from. So yeah, at the moment you just don't know.
Alright, cool, thanks.
Are we in the room? Have we entered?
Yeah,
I
I'll
feel
step
like
in.
we've entered.
You're all kind of standing around near the door, but yeah, if you want to head in, start having a look around.
Yeah. I'd like to head in and just say, because I heard some noise, I want to say just hello in Common, Elvish, and Sylvan. Just see if anything's around.
Yeah, for sure. So you walk in and you're just like, hello! And then you speak in Elvish.
And then...
And in Sylvan.
Hello!
Roll a persuasion check for me. With advantage.
That is a total of 4 and 15.
15.
15 is the one.
Okay, so you kind of wait for a moment and you can still hear just the dripping of water and kind of the splashes of light that illuminate the water. And then there's some movement, roughly 20 feet in front of you. You see in the water, deep below the surface, there is a shape that begins to sort of take form, almost looking like an eel. And then it disappears, and across the room, I'm just trying to find a marker that I can put down so that you know where to look. Sorry, guys. So, pay no mind exactly to what this looks like. However,
I bet it's phallic.
there we go. So, in this corner of the room, Syl, you can see that there is a young woman that sort of pops her head above the surface of the water, and she looks directly towards you for a moment, and replying in initially Elven, then Sylvan, and then a language that you haven't heard, or you that sounds familiar, but is not
Yeah.
exactly something that you know, she replies with, "Hello, gorgeous. How are you?"
Ooh. I'm good. Are you talking to me? I reply in Sylvan.
She looks at you and she just says, "Well, I'm certainly not talking to that." And then there's a word that you don't understand for a moment, but immediately you see both Magnus and Davos looking directly back towards you as she talks in Elven to you, Syl. There is a word that both Davos and Magnus hear. There's just essentially the infernal equivalent of ugly, immoral person. And she kind of offhandedly refers to...
Not primordial, is it?
It is not. It is infernal.
Dang.
Oh.
And she kind of offhandedly refers to Davos for a second, with her eyes continuously just locked on you, Syl. She says,
Am I familiar with what she is, Luke? Because she's sounding very Fae-like.
What's your pass? I'd say you can probably see her at the minute. Go ahead and roll a nature check for me.
Okay. $19.
19. As you kind of move in and sort of budge past Davos a little towards Falcor and Syl, you can see that this young woman is certainly not a young woman. This is a Nereid, or Nereid, which is a water nymph or sprite, and like a fey water creature that shapes its environment to suit its needs.
Do I know about, like, if it would be seelie or unseelie or courtless? Like, not this one specifically, but generally?
Yeah, so generally, these creatures, with a 19, generally these creatures are like either chaotic good or chaotic neutral. And in most cases, they would probably serve the Seelie court. However, some of those that are chaotic neutral would likely end up working with the Unseelie at times.
Cool. I'm just gonna, like, kind of subtly put my necklace underneath my coat.
Cool, so you're just kind of tucking it away.
Yes, please.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check, please.
I'm great at that.
I'm certain.
Really, really good.
You're super modest too.
I'm not too bad at it today.
Okay.
So just checking my mod there, and it is a 16.
Okay, so you kind of look up for a second. You begin stuffing it below your armor, which really is just sweating now. Kind of the armor of Agathis seems to be dripping off of it. And as you begin tucking it below the leather, you look immediately back up, and she's currently locked eyes with you. And she's just staring immediately at you. Do you...
I will incline my head slightly and respond. She's been talking Elven, right?
Yes. Yeah, she's been talking to Syl in Elven.
So I'll just incline my head slightly and say in Elven, my lady.
She just looks immediately at you and, replying in Infernal, says, "Cut that bullshit. You don't need to speak to me in
I'll
their
reply.
tongue."
Okay, I'll respond back in Infernal then and be like, okay, well then, let's be frank with each other.
So, Syl, you can't keep up with the conversation.
Yes.
You see Magnus walk up and begin spitting this kind of like very coarse language back out of his mouth towards the creature again. And as you say, let's be frank with each other then, she says, fine. What are you doing here?
There's a population of grung nearby. This place was once sacred to them. They've asked us to make it so again.
Once sacred to them, how far back in time do they think? This is ridiculous. This is our place now.
Who is our?
Oh, you have no idea, do you?
Then inform me.
The great Zotzilia serves all. Fae, undead. There are many gifts to be had of his. You should join us, you know. Leave that patron of yours.
And what gifts does he grant you?
I'd rather not say.
Fair enough. I'm not so foolish as to want to go against the one that grants me their strength, though.
Fair. Not wise, though. And immediately in common...
I'm looking at Ko.
Yeah.
Okay, you keep going.
No, that's okay. You look
I
at
was just
Ko.
gonna say, like, I look at Ko and like, and obviously we don't understand what's happening, but we can see that she's a bit manic, and I'm just like, oh, I don't feel good about this.
I'm just like, they're definitely exes.
The tension, hey?
I know. Who do you think broke up with who?
I'm like pointing at the girl.
Yep. So, at this point in time, you see her drop all facade of multilinguality, and common begins to spill forth from her. She just says, "Adventurers, I'm assuming. Welcome. Is there anything I can do for you?"
Define anything, I say.
I'm just going to warn them. She's an agent of Zotazilia.
And he's an agent of the Shayed.
I have no idea what either of those things are.
What's
I
do I
was
know what
like,
the
oh,
shade
this is
is?
a bit awkward.
I do detect evil.
So,
Is
if
it
you're
divine sense?
yeah, if you're going to use Divine Sense within 60 feet, let me know.
Yep.
Okay, from...
Yeah, do that.
Cool, so she's within 60 feet. You cast Divine Sense, and you get evil registering from her.
She's evil. She must be slain.
Whoa. How do we know she's evil?
Because I
Yes.
just cast divine sense.
Oh,
You see,
you just admitted it.
you see her kind of smiling for a moment, and her teeth kind of go from being these pearly white, very straightly carved teeth to a little bit more pointed and kind of ravenous. And she just smiles and she's like, "Yes, how would you know that I'm evil?" And you see that she begins to come forth from the water slightly, like rise from the water, and begins rising above where she would be just kicking her legs. She begins to rise to a point where it's almost as though she's wearing the water as a skirt now, and around her is this glowing, illuminated liquid skirt that extends from where she is in the corner of the room. And she just looks up and she just says, "I could have granted so many gifts. Unfortunately, I can't let you
Can
go much
I,
further."
Even me, who you once called gorgeous,
Are you saying this in common?
in Elven.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check.
Oh wow. I'm not good at persuasion. That's a 5.
She she just says, "Oh," replying to you in Elven, "My sweet, it could have been, but you travel
Can
with
I try
ill
to seduce
company."
her?
Right now, you can't. You hear that she is talking in another language to another person, and see her. You see her beginning to come towards Syl, and Syl, she kind of gets to about 10 feet back in the water, holds her hand up, and she just says, "Come here. Some gifts are meant to be received."
Ooh. Oh.
I say stand back.
Why don't you come here and give the gifts?
Oh, I am afraid I'm a little shy. And as you look down, you can see that from where she is, like, has elevated herself to a point where she would be walking across the water, where the water joins her body, this kind of like slick, very deep, like blue skin. Where the water meets it, she disappears. It almost appears as though she has no lower body, or that the water is obscuring it, though you can see straight through.
Well, all right. In that case, I just pick up a dart and toss it in my hand and say, "Why don't we exchange one gift for another?"
So you just throw it up in the air, and then
Just tossing it up and down.
cool.
Is that an innuendo?
Okay.
So, Luke, can I be just
You're right.
holding a vicious mockery for if she advances or becomes hostile?
You can begin casting it, and
Well,
I mean, is it?
I just want to hold it.
Yep, but
Like, it's just a verbal. All I
if it's verbal, you still would need to like say the spell. So you can either is it a reaction or is it an action?
It's an action.
Okay, so if it's an action, you can begin to say the spell, but you don't have to release it. You will be verbally saying the spell, however, to hold it until you want to target it at a creature. Or you can wait until something occurs and take your action.
Well, yeah, if she advances aggressively, I just want to start viciously mocking her.
Okay, cool. So, you are waiting for that to occur. However, you see that Syl, she looks towards you and she's like, Now, dearest, don't be like this. Just relax." And you see her eyes just looking immediately towards you, this visage of beauty that is captivating you right now, Syl, as you notice that surrounding your waist and beginning to fill the area around yourself, Magnus, Davos, and Falcor, is a cube of water that is just rising. And you can see that her hand has been flicking in a pattern around as she's been saying this, but you haven't moved your eyes from hers. And at this point in time, as water begins rising, and she finishes casting this spell, we're going to take a break and come back next Monday, because it is 10 to 11, and Syl, Falcor, Magnus, and Davos are currently being enveloped in water.
I was already
It's
wet.
like
so it's
that
fine.
acid cube, but water. The pH is
guy problems.
higher.
But it's just all this water. So Bell,
Leave him hanging.
Co, Thorax, you see that while she's been talking to these four men, that water has been extending from where she is towards Syl, slowly, just meandering at an almost snail-like pace, and
So want to seduce her.
begins to just crawl up the sides of each of the guys standing inside of this chamber, and begins to submerge them in water. So, until next time, guys, I hope that everyone has enjoyed the game and watching along. If you're watching on Twitch, thank you very much. I've enjoyed this game immensely. After a little bit of a slow start, getting some loot distributed, I've been very interested to see where you're going to go with this one. However, if you want to join us and come and talk about the game, go over to facebook.com/secretsexdungeon. You can find us there. We're posting relatively frequently, but if you want something a little bit more frequent, head over to instagram.com and find us at instagram.com/secretsexdungeon. And also, if you want to catch up on how the adventurers got here, what all of their stories thus far have been, head over to YouTube and search for Secret Sex Dungeon. Until next Monday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 8 p.m, when we go live next to find out how our adventurers will deal with this dungeon. My name's Luke McFan. I've been joined by Jordan, Matt, Alex, Kelvin, Chris, Beck, and Gabby, and we would like to say thank you for watching. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.